to the DM Chronicles. New setup. Not sure if it's a new feel, new look. Yeah, you can see. I just wanted some sort of backdrop. I've tried getting this setting, something like this set up for the longest time. You know what? I have a better idea. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Now you at least get. You know what? There we go. Alright. I'm stubborn about that. At any rate, I tried recently to do a new DM 101 episode. It timed out on me during the filming. But basically what it's going to be over is building your campaign world. You know, how do you want your campaign to be set? How do you want, player interactions to go? I got more room on my desk than I thought. Different desk setup. I'm using the desk under my bed now, so that's the new spot for my camera at any rate. But how do you want your campaign set? Where do you want it set? And the where is important, because if you set it in some place that you don't really care about, you give your players no reason to care about it. And your players are going to need every bit of reason to care about your campaign. I mean, you're not building this for you, you're building this for them as well. So it's a matter of building it how you would want them to enjoy it. You know, I mean, like, not necessarily like get everything they might enjoy together in one place, but although that might work if they don't if they don't clash with each other. But if they do clash with each other, then of course you got a problem. You know, what are you gonna do? So you got to be careful on that. Also, don't let them be. Be okay with the players giving ideas. Something I recommend when it comes to campaign setting is let your players make their characters first for the game, and then utilize their backstories to draw together the world. And really, that's what I did with my current campaign, and it turned out pretty well. So, suffice to say, it's a lot better the second time through than the first time. Because first time I tried making a world, I did it, and then it limited the players, obviously, because I was just using set rules. If they set it before I set the world, they set the tone for me, and I gotta live up to that. And I'm fine with that. I mean, really, it depends on the players and the DM themselves as to what the world turns out being. I would just personally like to recommend making sure it's a place that the players are going to care about, rather than a place that no one's going to like being at. Because you don't want to just say, oh, here's the barber shop. Because, like, who's going to play if it's that lackluster, you know, that lackadaisical? So it's just, it's a matter of making it an interesting and fun campaign setting. I mean, there's published ones out there. There's Ravenloft, Greyhawk, Dark Sun, Forgotten Realms, Eberron. Of course, Greyhawk and Ravenloft aren't in 4th edition D&D. And for, like, Pathfinder, oh my gosh, last time I was at a comic book store, I saw at least 4 or 5 different campaign settings. And there's probably a lot more than that. So, at the very least, you're stacked when it comes to campaign settings in Pathfinder. Now, other games, Star Wars, it's all about time frame. Same with Star Trek. Modern D20, that's solely on the DM. D6, I mean, there's a lot of these that are based solely on the DM as to what the world looks like. GM, if it's not D&D. But otherwise, you know, there are pre-made ones out there. But I do recommend using your creativity. Make it your own version of the world if you want to run a pre-made. Like, say something changed the landscape far worse than normal, like a cataclysm or a shattering, like is what's happening to the Forgotten Realms, which is leading to 5th edition D&D. So, but make it your own world. Make it unique, make it fun, make it something the players want to come back to each week. Because if you don't, it's just going to be routine when you play, and you're just going to quit eventually. And that's not fun. So, make it something your players will enjoy. And after that, it's basically, you know, who you want your villain to be. You know, you don't have to set your villain early, you know, like right off the bat. But I would recommend having, like, a good idea of what you'd want your villain to be like. Probably about middle of heroic tier if you're playing 4th edition, but middle of the first 5 or 6, or during the first 5 or 6 levels in, you know, games where 20 is the level cap instead of 30. But, at any rate, run, you're going to want to have a good idea of what your villain's like, because the villain's kind of what drives the characters during the story. Like, maybe cast a few ideas, the possibilities for the villain early on, but you're going to want the villain to be present at some point and really give the players the idea that some bad stuff's going down. So, but yeah, at any rate, I say that a little too much. You're gonna want, I mean, I don't know. The villain doesn't have to necessarily be evil. Like, I've heard, Spoonie from the Spoonie Experiment, Counter Monkey, his stuff. He once mentioned a lawful good guy being the villain because he believed that druids were pagans to his deity. And, you know, that makes sense. I mean, you want to be all in on your character's alignment and religion. So it's going to cause friction if that happens. But at the same time, I can feel the heat radiating off that. New lamp. That's one reason why this works. But at any rate, you're just going to want to make sure it's all set up and ready to go. And I'm losing my train of thought. It's not fun, so. But this is probably going to be a short episode because I can't keep my train of thought. But at least I got it out this time. So, make a fun campaign setting. Know your villain fairly quickly. Give your villain some good, strong minions so that the players aren't just easily plowing through. Give them a test. Don't make it tough, but give them like a test to try and get them, like, make them feel like they've earned this stuff. I kind of botched that recently. But I ain't gonna do that again. But, mostly because it's just not challenging for the players. But at any rate, I'm gonna leave y'all with this challenge to come up with the most dastardly villain you could think of, and then come up with the complete opposite, and think which one would actually be the most evil villain, without actually being evil. See how that fits into any campaign you run. Well, with that note, that's it for this episode of the KHDM Chronicles DM 101 series. This is your host, Natan, and I'm heading back to the cage. Until next time.